So Toastmasters, in the conversation, please share what your benefit has been so far, and excluding those that have been mentioned. So what have been your greatest benefits in Toastmasters ever since you joined, and how has that possibly helped you in your personal or professional development? Yes, please do type in the chat box. So Frank says, great company. And I suppose you mean the company of the Toastmasters round. What has been great about the company? What is it that you've developed? I mean, I could argue that I've got great company of my family. What has been so special about the great company in Toastmasters, Frank? Zivai, thank you very much for that. Zivai says, I've made some very good friends in Toastmasters who now support what I do professionally. And I suppose that's a great big benefit, because you also need a network of people who are able to support your professional. I mean, many people who are in business always say sometimes their customers are, majority of them are Toastmasters, and that is something to appreciate. Luyanda says, improved my networking as I've been able to meet a wide variety of people. They have inspired me to work on entrepreneurial goals that I didn't have before. So you again, it talks about maximizing your potential. People see potential in you, and they nurture that potential together with you and helping you grow. And Frank Witt, the great company, says they learned the power of working with teams. And I suppose this also involves how sometimes we all do things on our own because we trust ourselves, but with Toastmasters, having to work with teams, you realize that power and you achieve more. They say if you want to go far, you go with others. If you want to go fast, you go alone. And sometimes we all want to go far. Fatima says, one of the greatest skills I learned was being confident in sharing my views or opinions in my work environment. And this is something that didn't come naturally to me previously. So they're able to contribute your own personal views, opinions in a public space, and not having the fear to be judged or reprimanded. I thought that was brilliant. Thank you, Fatima, for sharing. So the confidence to share your views. Zivai says the recognition is something, a big benefit for her. All the certificates at each level that she has achieved, and the letters from the CEO of Toastmasters International, I suppose. So that is fantastic, getting just that recognition, because many of us, we are under or in a gloomy space or in a gloomy world out there where everything is going wrong, and there's very little time to appreciate or recognize the good that is happening, and the recognition has been beautiful for her. So thank you very much to the Toastmasters for sharing some of your personal benefits of being part of Toastmasters, and possibly what it has impacted in your life. But the next thing that possibly would like to just have a discussion on is the Toastmasters Club experience. So yes, you have decided to join Toastmasters. You have decided to be involved in this Toastmasters thing that they've been talking about. What is it that you can experience in a club experience? What is it that you can take to your club or enjoy in your club? And the Toastmasters Club experience, first and foremost, like I said, it's a learn by doing. So it's a hands-on learning environment. A hands-on learning environment means you're not going to sit behind a desk and wait for a lecturer or someone else to stand in front of you and tell you what to do, when to do it. We in Toastmasters pride ourselves to having a club experience where you are able to try it out, to use whatever you've got and start using it, because we always believe, yes, you may not be the greatest speaker, but you've got some speaking skills with you. So let's discover them, let's nurture them, let's see where you are. So you start by possibly getting involved by just giving a talk or a speech or whatever it is that you have at the present, and appreciating the little that you've got so that you can be able to develop from there. So it's a hands-on learning environment. There is no way you are going to be sitting behind and expecting that you only learn from being a spectator. It's like a gym, and in a gym where you can't expect to grow muscles if you're watching other people gym. You've got to be on that treadmill. You've got to be carrying or lifting those weights so that you can be able to build the muscle that you want. The second experience that you would want to experience is the practicing of prepared and impromptu speeches. Now, many of us join Toastmasters to develop our public speaking or our communication skills. And in some cases, even when we have the opportunity to prepare our presentations at work, in Toastmasters, we allow you the opportunity to practice giving prepared speeches or presentations in a club setup, such that you can then be able to develop that skill. But more often than not, we are called impromptu to come and give a speech about a certain environment, or just come and give feedback in a group setting, which is what we normally call as impromptu speaking. And this is another big asset of Toastmasters, where you are able to develop the skills of speaking off the cuff without much preparation, and still make sense, and still be able to contribute wisely and something of value. I was watching the news earlier on, and I was taken aback. And as a Toastmaster, you then get to experience that this will be your daily bread. When you now watch the news or listening to someone speaking, one of the things you always be evaluating something that they're saying. And I was taken aback because this was a senior person who was speaking, and I would assume they knew they were going to be on national TV and they were going to say something, but they couldn't say anything of sense or say anything of value, according to me, simply because they had not planned their speech or their message. And the ability to just learn these skills in a safe environment of impromptu speech, practicing your impromptu or prepared speeches, has become a pivotal part of our Toastmasters Club experience. In every Toastmasters Club, there's an opportunity to lead. And like we say, leadership comes in many forms, in playing the role of listening skills, playing the role of time management skills, mentoring, giving feedback, project planning, and so forth. All these are opportunities where we are able to develop leadership skills that are essential in our small environment, in our families, in our communities, in our homes, in our cities or countries, or in our continent at large. And every meeting has an opportunity for you to take a leadership lesson home with you. Receiving feedback and giving feedback is another big part of our meetings. And we do this through the evaluations. We give each other positive, constructive, and motivational feedback that enables us to grow. We believe that breakfast feedback is the breakfast for champions, where we always thrive on the feedback that we receive. And the one big thread that you'll find at any Toastmasters Club in all round of the world is that our feedback is constructive criticism. It's something to help you grow. It's motivational. After receiving feedback, you want to try again and do it again. And that is one of the crux and mostly the base of our meetings. Why anyone would want to develop their speaking skills in a Toastmasters Club is because of the feedback that is given, the structure, how this structure of the feedback is like. And the greater part for many of the Toastmasters who did not realize this when they started, but now having been more involved, is the access to personal and professional mentors or mentees. So there are many people out there who are already business champions in whatever they do in the workspace or in their careers, who are looking for people to mentor. I mean, a lot of people are looking at developing our youth. They are passionate about youth development. And we've got these youth in Toastmasters that are available, willing and eager. And they're looking for a place where they will find the right mentees to mentor, so that they can be sure that their contribution is being valid or valued. And this is a space where you would find that mentoring happening, or that a mentee being present, as well as some people come to Toastmasters because they want to be mentored into becoming either professional speakers or better presenters at work or better managers or better leaders. And we find this in Toastmasters with free access to these mentors and mentees. And they don't have to be specifically from your own club or from your own city. It can be a mentor from any other part of the world. From a Toastmaster, you get these mentors for free. And this is the beauty of the network that we have in Toastmasters. For some of the Toastmasters as well, would you share some of the things that you enjoy in a club setup? What is it that you find every time you go for a club meeting, whenever you guys meet? What is it that you always love experiences, or that you always look out for in your Toastmasters club experience? Toastmasters, please share what you always look out for when you are going for your club meeting, in addition to some of these that we've shared, and possibly what it is that you possibly leave with after attending a club meeting, in addition to these benefits. I hope some Toastmasters are typing. I got a private message to say some look out for the inspiration that comes from a meeting. Every time they attend a meeting, they are inspired to work on a possible challenge that they experience. Thank you very much. Viola says the warm reception and fellowship. The warm reception and the fellowship in the Toastmasters meeting is something that they value mostly when they attend the Toastmasters club meeting. And Frank says the relaxation, I suppose, coming out from a busy, active, hectic world, there is also a lot of relaxation and also laughter, I suppose, Frank, laughter from the activities that are happening in Toastmasters. There's a lot of humor being going there, and just keeping us happy and rejuvenated for our other activities out there. Fatima says one of the things she always enjoys at a Toastmasters meeting is table topics. Table topics is where we practice impromptu speaking, and it's always fun, yet it's a great learning curve. So our founder in 1924, Dr. Ralph C. Smedley, says, if it's not fun, it's not Toastmasters, and table topics is usually the fun segment of our meeting in addition to every other segment. So yes, so those are some of the things that we Toastmasters are addicted to or enjoy when we attend club meetings. We enjoy some of these benefits, but also there are many other personal benefits that we get out of being just at a club meeting and enjoying. And this brings us the opportunity to just enjoy our Toastmasters experience. And Tinashe shares that the ability to express himself in speeches. And I suppose that is a key benefit or appreciation, because sometimes we don't have the time, or we don't have the ears to listen to what we want to say or what is being said. We're always in a rush to do something else, and the ability to express yourself in speeches is always pivotal and valuable. And many people leave there inspired from the personal stories that we share, and we realize that we've got so much more in common than we imagined. Fatima also says she enjoys the speeches because you learn something new due to people sharing information about topics you might not have researched for yourself. And that is precisely true. I mean, one of the distinguished Toastmasters we have, one of the high-level Toastmasters in Zimbabwe, distinguished Toastmaster Edmore Gamundani, always said, attending a Toastmasters meeting is no different to reading 5 or 6 books in 2 or 3 hour meetings, simply because someone goes home, studies about this topic for a long time, or they read about this book and they come and share it with you in 5 to 7 minutes, and you take away some lessons. You get 5 or 6 speakers in one meeting or in one event that share different subjects around what they are talking about, and you learn something new, and that leaves us with a bit less ignorance into what is happening around us and what is happening in other cultures. So that is also something of value. But now let's look into the summation of our club experience. And our club experience is based on the mission that is on your screen, where we love. Our club is exactly as we say, that we provide a supportive and positive learning experience. So if it's not supportive, then it's not a Toastmasters Club meeting. If it's not positive, then it's also not a Toastmasters Club meeting. And every time it is supposed to be a learning experience with so much fun, with so much enjoyment. We learn best in moments of enjoyment in Toastmasters. And the idea is to have members empowered to develop their communication and leadership skills. So if I then do it for you, if I then do your presentation for you, if I then write your speech, then I'm not empowering you to develop your communication and leadership skills. Hence, there is that element of empowerment that we give to our members to develop their skills, and so that they can result in greater self-confidence and personal growth, which we need for us to step out and realize those great ideas we have. Now, I said earlier on, our program is based on something new, exciting, and also dynamic. And this is what the dynamic is, the dynamic pathways learning experience. So our organization, Toastmasters, has been in existence as a registered organization since 1924, which is around about 98 years now. And this year, after 98 years or 97.5 years or so, Toastmasters revolutionized their educational program to meet some of the key elements that we come to Toastmasters to develop, or we want to implement in our workspaces. And this is what has been dubbed the Pathways Learning Experience. And for many of you who possibly have been following Toastmasters, you've been learning about there's a new educational program in Toastmasters, a new way of doing things. And this is the dynamic program that we are experiencing. So Pathways is Toastmasters education program, which is still based on our 5 core competencies that I'll share a little bit later on. But this is the program that helps members also enjoy the benefits of the global environment that is what we have as we have it today or nowadays, which helps each member to then start their career based on a path that they feel is most suitable for them. So when you come to Toastmasters, many people have different needs to come into Toastmasters. As we have experienced, some people come for the public speaking, some come for the listening skills, some people come for the leadership skills, for the ability to be team managers. So when you join Toastmasters, once you've paid your membership fees and so forth, and you're now a member, the first thing that we do in Toastmasters is a needs analysis. And that needs analysis is in the form of an assessment that you do when you get into your portal. In that portal, you're able to then choose from 10 parts based on your goals. And the parts that are available for you to work from are parts that have been realized as the top 10 key professional development parts that you may want to have for your competitive advantage professionally, personally, or as an individual. And these 10 parts are some of those that you will then encounter as you take on your assessment. You'll then be able to evaluate which one suits you best. You can use Pathways program online so that wherever you go, you don't have to worry about much, but you can then be able to access the tutorials, the learning material online, or you may, if you are possibly from the wise old age, you are still stuck up in printing and so forth, you are able to use print material that may take time to ship from the US to your residence. But with with this day and age, most of everything that we do is online. So you are able to access your learning material or the learning guides online. And this is also the dynamic side of Pathways. And the key here is you learn at your own pace, you work at your own pace. There is no rule of thumb to say you have to finish this program within 3 years or 5 years or 3 months. You work at your own pace based on your goals. And as we said earlier on, when you come in, we'll do a needs analysis, a goals assessment, and with your mentor and the learning and development manager in your club, you are able to assess, by this time, I would like to be a professional speaker. So, okay, so after a year or 2 or 6 months, I would like to be a professional speaker. What does that entail? It possibly entails that you either need to move fast in your program and learn as fast as you can, which means investing more time. Or, you know what, you want to take this, you've got all the time in the world, you want to take this at a slow pace and develop bit by bit. And that means you take your journey as normally or as slowly as you would want, so that you are able to learn and absorb as much as possible. And that is a key skill. And then with Pathways, it centers around building your professional skills, and professional skills, not just around being an employee, building your career in as an employee, but also your entrepreneurial skills based on the practical projects or paths that we have in Toastmasters that you are able to directly transfer into your business or into your workspace, so that you can also impact that sphere of your life. Remember, you are coming to Toastmasters so that you can be a better leader or a better communicator out there, and this is what becomes key. Now, from here, I mentioned that we've got 10 parts that we are privileged to have. And before I introduce those 10 parts, on the left side of your screen, you will see the 5 core competencies that we want to develop when we join Toastmasters. And that is public speaking, interpersonal communication, strategic leadership, management, and confidence. So all our parts are based on these core competencies that are key in almost every career that you take on. These are the 5 core competencies that have been evaluated or assessed and realized to be the key competencies that we need in our workspaces, in our professional setups, or as an entrepreneur. These are some of the key competencies, 5 key top competencies that we need to develop. And the 10 parts that we have at our disposal in Toastmasters is the highly sought after dynamic leadership. And with dynamic leadership, as you realize, as is shown in the key there, if you see, it says 1, 2, 3, 5. So the 1 represents that with the dynamic leadership part, the key or the competencies that you're really looking and working on is public speaking, 2, interpersonal communication, 3, strategic leadership, and 5, which is confidence. So there's very little or not much of management when you're dealing or when you're working on dynamic leadership. And as it says there, in dynamic leadership, what you're working on is building strategic leadership and conflict resolution skills. And possibly that may relate to you, Tinashe, where you mentioned that you want to learn to be diplomatic in your business engagements. So possibly that could be one of the ways that you can, one of the parts that you could engage yourself in. And then the second one there is effective coaching. We have Elle-Marie here, who is a life and executive coach, and perhaps just to beef up or strengthen your coaching skills there, this is where you would be looking into public speaking, interpersonal communication, management, and confidence as well. There, you're building interpersonal communication and leadership, interpersonal communication, leadership, and coaching skills, and most definitely with coaching, that is where our listening skills come in very key and handy, because all you are most of the time you are listening so that you are able to coach as a leader. And then we look into innovative planning. Now, for many entrepreneurs, they've come to realize that there are many other people doing the same business as they are doing, and it needs an innovative mind to come through and change the market in a way. And looking for those innovative plannings, as we realize and or recognize some of the innovative successful entrepreneurial projects that are happening, like your Airbnb, your Uber, where there's no one person who owns the car, but the business or the brand Uber is innovative and is successful, one of the leading transport businesses that we have, or so be with Airbnb and so forth. And this is something that we build creative project management and communication skills as we do innovative planning. When you're working with a team, how well you innovatively plan, because as you work with a team, you will also be encountering a few challenges because of differences in opinion. And with that, one of the key areas that you'll be developing more strongly are public speaking, management, interpersonal communication, and your confidence. And as you possibly realize, with many of these paths that we take, you always find that public speaking is involved, confidence is involved, because that is how we work. We lead through our tongue or our voice. And then we look at motivational strategies, and this is usually from the many people that would love to be motivational speakers. This is a great path to follow that allows you to develop your motivational speaking skills. And as we always love to share with motivational speaking, there is an element of leadership, because you want to motivate people to take on certain leadership stunts, take on certain projects or certain paths that will allow them to change the world. And for you to change the world, you need to lead a movement, and hence you will find quite a lot of leadership chats in there. So those are some of the things. Then we've got persuasive influence, where leadership is influence. As we influence each other, you build skills to lead in complex situations. And this is when most of us we find ourselves shying from leadership, because you are involved with leadership comes a lot of conflict resolution that you need to do, and persuasive influence. Sometimes you're not so happy with what's happening or the path that is being taken in a certain course on time, and it needs your persuasive influence to influence or to sway the movement at that moment, to be able to then change the course of the conversation to a course where you possibly are more interested in or worthy in following through. And we talk about presentation mastery. Now, with presentation mastery, it's more to do with our presentation skills, and that is coming through with public speaking and confidence. And for those people that are more into doing presentations at work or presentations of their business, this is the basics of it. This is what the crux is all about, just your public speaking and your confidence building. Not to say that you won't learn more a little bit about interpersonal communication or strategic leadership or management, but the two, the public speaking and confidence, are the highly guided strengths or competencies that you definitely be sure to develop after completing that path. Strategic relationships, we talked about networking. So the question comes more often than not, that how do we then develop a network that is going to be valuable to me? I don't just want to be related to every Jake and Jill. I want to be related to or network or be engaged with people who are going to either propel me to a certain level or mentor me to a certain degree, or possibly that I will see value in the relationship. So this also allows us to build networking, leadership, and communication skills. And as we realize, all the competencies are highly emphasized except for management when it comes to strategic relations. And then team collaboration, just as Frank said earlier on, one of the greatest appreciations he has of Toastmasters, the ability to work or to realize the power of a team, and building collaborative leadership skills is the crux of this path on team collaboration. And with this one, we're developing our public speaking, our management, our interpersonal communication, and our confidence. And like I said, as you realize, almost each path that we have here is working on our public speaking and our confidence. And last but not least, of the 10 parts that we have out here now, is the visionary communication. Don't our corporates or companies or businesses need a vision? And when you're building something, you don't do it alone. You work with a team, and the ability to possibly have visionary conversations, build innovative communication and leadership skills. Selling a vision is a pivotal part in getting your team to buy into that vision and moving with it. So if you look at that, you're looking at a leader who wants to develop visionary communication, something selling an idea based on the vision such that everyone else rallies behind it. And these are more so for especially our politicians there or our leaders out there who want to sell a vision, who've got a vision and just want to get people rallying behind that vision, is part of the key 10 parts that we have realized in Toastmasters that they're key in developing in our professional and personal development. Now, how do you then know which one is for you? Say, for example, you're not sure. This is where we go back to say, as I mentioned earlier, that out of this, you are able to, you can do as many as you want, or you can, but as you know, when you join, you'll be able to select one of these to work on. And as you select one of these, to help you select is an assessment, a needs analysis assessment in terms of what you want to get out of Toastmasters. What are your current strengths? Where do you use these strengths, or where do you use the skills that you want to develop? And from then, you are able to then say, right, the Toastmasters portal will possibly suggest the top three parts that you may want to take on. And say, for example, you've got dynamic leadership, innovative planning, and leadership development. You're able to then make a choice in terms of which one you think strikes you the most. And there's a lot of content around this that involves your development in those areas. But all this is all nice and lovely. What does it cost you? What does this cost you? Compared to conferences and seminars, Toastmasters is ongoing and affordable. I defend to this that it is the most cost-effective way to learn that I've ever come across, experience, and as someone who is in the training industry, I greatly understand many times when we learn how expensive it is to just go for a 2-day course in presentation skills, and the general consensus or thought is I'm now very good at public speaking, or I'm very good at doing presentation after 2 days, which is generally not the case, because you can't go to the gym in 2 days and expect to have all the muscles that you need to carry you through. So Toastmasters is ongoing, but also in its ongoing, you would anticipate that it would be expensive. But here it goes. You're paying, if it's the first time you're becoming a member, there's $20 that you pay for a new member fee to just get you. It's a once-off fee that you pay once off, and then your $45 6-month subscription membership dues per person. For those that are in the South Africa, this can be translated $65, mostly approximately rounded off to 1,100 rand per 6 months. And then this may be plus or minus depending on which club you join or what cost they incur. So for many clubs, they possibly have a venue higher fee where they meet. Then you find yourself paying, maybe contributing to that. But because a club is constituted of at least 20 members, you are able to divide whatever venue fee costs based on the number of members in the club. So it's somewhat of an insignificant figure. Some clubs meet over breakfast, so you then consider your breakfast charge or whatever you have for breakfast there. And some are dinner meetings where they have dinner at their meetings, and then you'd have also to consider that. But on an average, you're looking at $45 or $90 per year. Now, $90 per year is barely equal to 2 days of presentation skills. This is something that I know I can prove, but it is something that you would also be possibly sure to say, you know what, I've been to a presentation skills course. It charged me 3-4 times more that. And this is 6 months of membership. And once you're a member of one club, you are able to visit any other club. Say you travel to Hong Kong, there should be a club there. You just go to that club, present your membership ID, and you're able to continue with your learning. Travel to Zimbabwe, there is a club there. Travel to Malawi, there is a club there, and so forth. And there is no limit to your learning to say, oh, there's no fair usage to say, no. This week you've attended 5 Toastmasters sessions. You have had enough. You're going to continue after 2 weeks or a month. You can go to as many Toastmasters club sessions as you want. There was a time I was on holiday, and I remember that on one day I would possibly even attend a number of 3 clubs, especially here in Pretoria, where we've got a club that meets in the morning, we've got a club that meets in the afternoon, and a club that meets in the evening. And that was just how I progressed with my Toastmasters development. And I've got so many benefits out of it. And on an average, I go to 3 club meetings or 3 club events per week. And I learn from each of those, and I participate and contribute, and it makes my membership fee very, very worthwhile. So these are some of the charges or costs that you may anticipate when you approach a Toastmasters club and you are involved in it. So how do you become a member? I would say, if you need my help, the one idea is you can just share with me privately your email address and your location, and I'll be able to connect you with a local champion who is there. Or you go to the site there, www.toastmasters.org/find-a-club, or you can just say find a club. You will be able to see the clubs in your vicinity, in your area, whether you stay in Emalahleni or you stay in Witbank or you stay in Nelspruit. You'll be able to see which clubs are in your area and what time they meet, and you can be able to contact someone there. But if you share with me your email and your location, what I will be able to do for you is to connect you with a local champion or a local guide who is going to be representing the club, and they will be able to contact you and invite you to the next meeting. And once you attend the club, and you experience what they have to offer, and you're glad and willing and enjoying the program, you're then able to then make a decision in terms of if that club suits what you are looking into. Thank you, Nomvuselelo. I will connect you with the Toastmasters Club in Bhavane. We have one club in Bhavane, which I do believe you definitely enjoy. So these are some of the benefits. And at this point in time, I'd like to open up for questions that you may have that I can assist you with? Any questions that you would like me to answer? You can unmute yourself or share them in the chat, and then I'll be able to. Thank you, Marie. I will connect you there. Any questions that you may have? Elmarie says, is it possible to earn ICF credits with the coaching pathway? Unfortunately, not yet. And as I mentioned, the program is it's still being in rollout. The pathway, the coaching pathway allows you become accredited as a Toastmasters by Toastmasters as an effective coach or a proficient in coaching, but there has not been any communication relating to the relation or aligning the ICF with ICF for credits. Similarly, there is work in progress to just build a transparency, especially for those in South Africa with our normal SAP qualification. There is a qualification in part of the qualification that allows us to relate it to the Toastmasters program, but just not as clear as it could have been. And similarly with ICF, it's something that I suspect is possibly work in progress, but just not as yet. I hope that answers you, Emery. Any other questions that are coming through? It does not seem like there are any other questions that are coming through. And whilst if anyone is still thinking of a question, I'll just ask, maybe if I can ask Frank, if you're able to just quickly share with us your personal member moment or your Toastmasters journey in terms of what Toastmasters has done for you, or how have you seen the value of Toastmasters impact your life? Has it been of any value and contributed to anything that you would love to share with us this evening? Frank. Okay, I suppose Frank is not with me. Can I ask Glenita, are you still with us? Glenita, if you're still with us, please just share with us. I know you're from Cape Town. If you can just share with us your experience of Toastmasters as a member and how it has impacted you. All right, she says 1 second. She's just getting a headset on. While we wait for Glenita, Luyanda, please just also prepare to just share with us something about your experience in Toastmasters, if you may. Perhaps, Luyanda, if you're ready, you could just start off whilst we wait for Glenita. Luyanda, if you're ready, you can just go for it.
I assume I can speak, right?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, cool. So I've been a Toastmaster for 5 years and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I've learned a lot of skills that I didn't think I needed. Um, Speaking, you'd imagine, is something that comes naturally to people, but when you actually have to do it for a job, it becomes a bit of a challenge. So learn to speak up in meetings, become much more concise and deliberate in my speeches. Well, actually, just in giving feedback in meetings, I'm able to actually quickly ascertain a situation and actually provide feedback whenever needed. I'm no longer shy or anything like that, and easily take on roles. And I've mentored a few people. I'm starting a mentorship program right now in our club. So I think the journey has been awesome. It's really, really been fantastic. Yeah, a lot of it has been through actually opening yourself up to the process of meeting all these different people.
Thank you very much, Luyanda. What would you recommend or advise us as we take on our new journey, Toastmasters? What would be your advice?
But for new members,
Yes.
for new members, I feel you need to be open to the process of learning. As you had mentioned earlier in your presentation, that it's a learn by doing environment. You don't necessarily learn by just watching how other people do it. If you participate, that's when you actually get to reap the benefits of it.
Fantastic. So be open to the learning. Thank you very much, Luyanda. Glenita, are you ready to share with us? I can see your microphone is on. Glenita, are you going to be sharing or are you having audio challenges? We cannot hear you. I don't know if I'm the only one, but I cannot hear you, Glenita. I suppose we're having challenges with Glenita. Fatima, would you like to share your Toastmasters experience in a nutshell?
Good evening. It's Fatima here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Good evening.
That's good. I've been a member of Toastmasters since 2012. And for me, the journey has been quite interesting. As people, we usually set ourselves, well, I typically set myself small goals and I tend to go at things bit by bit by bit. But however, with Toastmasters, I was pushed in a direction or moved in a direction to push myself beyond the boundaries that I usually go. And with being pushed beyond the boundaries that I usually go, I learned that I could absorb information and grow much faster than I thought I could. So for me, that was the greatest experience. Don't limit yourself to your own boundaries. Use the mentors so that they can motivate you to do things that you thought you couldn't do. Is somebody talking at the same time?
No, we're listening to you,
Hello?
Fatima.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Use your mentors so that they can push you to at the level that's beyond yourself. So for me, that was one of the greatest things. And as I mentioned previously, being part of Toastmasters provided me with the confidence to speak up in not only my team meetings, but we have staff meetings once a quarter, to speak up in staff meetings, which typically consist of 500 and above people, to express my views on the company, on the policies, and so forth. So it didn't only benefit me in my immediate team space, but as well as the great organization as a whole.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing, Fatima. I suppose any of the other Toastmasters would like to just share their experiences. Glenita, are you back on? All right. It seems like Glenita is having the same challenges I have. I had to connect from my phone as well. However, to all the non-Toastmasters, please just share what your experience has been. Maybe you can put it in the chat if you'd like to share something about this webinar, about what was valuable to you, what was new to you, or possibly what you'd like to learn more relating to Toastmasters. You can unmute yourself and share verbally, or you can type in the chat box before we close the session. Thank you, Elmary, for sharing. Elmary says, I did not realize that Toastmasters could help me develop as a coach. And then some more, I suppose. I can't wait to become a Toastmaster. Fantastic. We can't wait to have you join this organization and be part of this crew. We'll definitely help you there. Anyone else willing to share? Seems like everyone seems to be happy. Thank you very much for everyone for joining us this evening. I'm glad. Elena says, thank you. I'm new to Toastmasters. I would like to learn more about pathways. So definitely we'll try and see if we can share more in-depth knowledge about pathways, and I'll see that we organize a webinar for that and publicize it in advance. But thank you to everyone who joined this call, and especially to the Toastmasters who came in and made an effort to share their experiences and also share the knowledge they have of Toastmasters, to the non-Toastmasters who took time to just learn more about this organization and the program. Thank you for joining us, and I hope it has been valuable for you to learn, and you will definitely be engaged. So if you'd like me to help you any further, except for those that I already took their contact details, my email is P for pot, R for rainbow, at Toastmasters, the full name Toastmasters 74, the numbers, .org. So it's PR at Toastmasters74.org. And maybe I should just put it in the chat screen at the bottom here so that it's clear. I'll just type in my email there, and I will help you with any further questions you may have, and we can take it from there. Thank you, Fatima. And let's have a good evening. Thank you for joining in. I will be in touch with you all. Thank you. Good night.